Welcome to a very special Power Players segment. We have our risk manager, Mick, with us. This is going to be a really good one. You guys sent in some really good questions. I'm looking forward to it. Mick, how you doing today, buddy? Your mustache looks fantastic.
Thanks, John. I'm doing super well today. Exciting morning. How are you doing?
Me? I'm living the dream. I'm good, man. I'm good.
Yeah,
Glad
got
to
your
be
face
here.
on TV. What's not to like? What's not to like? I'm excited to be included for the Q&A today with the risk manager in place of our Power Players segment. I know Brett took over the shoulder tap segment today. Heard that was good, and and I'm here. Let's roll.
And I saw you have your dog, Reva,
Yes.
in the office today.
Reva's in the office. She's sitting right here next to me, laying down. You can see her tennis ball under my desk behind me.
There you go. You got to have the tennis ball.
Yeah, I mean, she's got a dog bed in here. She's got toys.
She's very well at home there.
Keep food in the pantry in here and whatnot.
Nice.
As I'm looking in my background, I got we've got our new little volcano over here. The steam, the humidifying machine.
Yeah, it's a little aromatherapy for everybody.
It's dry up here. It's dry up here.
I bet it is. Well. So, we've got a lot of questions. You ready to jump in?
I am. I've reviewed a lot of the questions. I know we're going to have more coming in, but I'm prepped. I'm ready to go. Nothing I couldn't really answer off the cuff, so let's break a leg or two.
All right. We're going to make this really challenging for you.
You always make things difficult, John.
All right. I am going to go with the first question here. What's on your mind?
What's on my mind? Exciting stuff here in the Chicago Board of Trade building. Just met with a few people, Michael, Casey, and some people that own the building here, talking about a potential collaboration for some space right on the first floor, Jackson and LaSalle here at they call the Chicago Board of Trade building the anchor of LaSalle Street. And it's because we're at Jackson. It's a dead ends at the Board of Trade. You face straight north where I'm looking right now, right up LaSalle. And from up here on the high floor, we can see all the way to the lake as the lake kind of curves around. Right. But there's been some empty space down on the first floor of the building that they want to kind of turn into a historical, old school trading floor museum.
I think that's going to be really cool.
Yeah, temporarily, I think these museums do turnover over 12 months or so. So it sounded like preliminary ideas were for us to share a space with the building in this museum where we would have the old school trading on one side of the room as you enter into the museum, and then potentially Topstep and our production on another side of the room, separated via glass wall. There's much more creative people than the people that were in the room with us having this meeting, where I just came from 10 minutes ago.
Right,
and it sounds like it'd be cool. It would allow for people who are on the sidewalk to look in, similar to the other news production companies here, where you can see, check in, see all the equipment, all the filming stuff, talking about having some cool display boards for charts and markets and all that stuff. So, we'll get the creative minds on this and hopefully come up with something that would be a little bit of a different kind of tradertainment for our viewers, as well as anybody who's walking around the sidewalks in Chicago.
That would be something else. That would be cool. All right.
It would be cool. Really quickly, last thing on that, they're talking about potentially taking some of the boards, the old boards that were displayed.
Okay.
Some people might call them the ticker, but they were the boards that had all the price quotations for the different markets, and that could be potential backdrop.
That would be cool.
Nothing's set in stone. It's just an idea right now, but it seems like both parties are willing and able to do something cool with the space.
Cool. That'll be awesome. All right. Now on to the real questions.
Bring it.
What type of psychological record do you keep, and how do you use it to improve on your trading?
It's a great question. Record keeping is always important, doing your homework at the end of the day. John, you're a big preacher of that. Psychologically, stuff has changed with me over the years. I am not the same person that was looking at the markets when I was, when I started trading when I was 20 years old. Over time, you learn things, you make mistakes, you learn from those mistakes, and you mature. I'm not saying I'm the most mature person, but psychologically, my trick to keeping emotion out of my trading is I'm not an active trader that much anymore. I'm not very active, I should say. And whenever I do take risk in the marketplace, I'm always framing out what my risk is. My entry, you guys have heard me say it on Coach's Playbook, now on Shoulder Tap, is anytime you put a trade on, you need to have couple things in mind prior to even putting the trade on. You need to know where you're getting out if you're wrong, and you should have a very good idea of where you're getting out or starting to get out if you're correct. If you can frame out those things ahead of the trade, you're already running the outcomes through your mind. So if I know if I can only risk this much on the trade, or if it goes to this price level, I need to puke the trade and get out because it could continue against me. If I've already framed that out and it's a loss or it's a win, then I've already kind of mentally prepared for one of those two outcomes, and it makes it so much easier to move on to the next day. But so that's like where the psychology, the emotion, if you can frame things out like that, it's so much easier to, stomach a loss. Also, chances are, if you're framing it out, your losses are going to be contained as they should be, and you're not going to watch markets go against you further to the point where it does screw with you emotionally. Like, I don't take risk on trades if I have a loss, and that loss is going to screw with me mentally. I'm not taking that kind of risk. I'm taking risk on trades that if it is a loss, boom, it was a loss. I move on to the next one. So having that framed out ahead of time is probably the best thing you could do psychologically for yourself in your trading.
So you would say you're already preparing for the outcome of a trade before you even put it on. That's one way to kind of preempt the need for a psychological record. I know you've been trading for a long time. You've been through all the psychological gymnastics that you can go through, and you're preparing yourself before the trade.
100%. And, when I think about psychology, like, my mind goes to thinking about cold streaks and how depressing it could be if you're just going to work day in and day out and not making any money. And that's when, step away from trading for a little bit, take some time off. It's, there's certain periods in your trading career where, you wake up super early because you just can't wait to sit down in front of the computer and see what's happening in the marketplace and see if you can find opportunities, to waking up and hitting snooze for an hour because you don't want to crawl out of bed and go sit down in front of that computer and just, become miserable,
Right.
because you're on a cold streak. So make some separation. The markets are open 23 hours a day, 5 days a week, all year long. They're not going anywhere. You can take some time off to, heal mentally and then come back. And I've done that before. I did that in the first year I traded. I took a few months off because I wasn't getting it right when I was shorting soybeans every day and losing a ton of money. I almost put myself out of business. So I found some odds and end jobs during that time, got a different appreciation for the dollar, and then came back knowing that I had not liked those odds and end jobs that I was doing to, get by. And I took the trading a little bit more seriously. Almost blowing out early on was probably one of the best things that could have happened for me. I know Michael talks about how losing those three $30,000 accounts turned out to be something very good for him. You get stung good enough, you're not going to do it again, whether that was me, him, or other traders. You learn from those mistakes.
And my dad always said, the hardest steel comes from the hottest forge. Sometimes those lessons are really valuable moving forward. All right, the next question.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how if you are able to or willing to answer this. We really try and focus on trader success here, but the question is basically how many XFAs lose their account on an average day. Now, that doesn't mean failure. It just means a not successful yet type of situation. How many?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'd be curious myself if I was out there. I don't have the answer for you because I'm more so looking at the side where, hey, these are the people that are doing well. Who are we calling up to a live account? So I'm not looking at all the failures, but there's a lot of XFAs that are trading on a daily basis. We have a lot of XFAs that close every day. We have a lot of XFAs that start every day. So it's a high number. I wish it was a smaller number. We want good traders coming to the prop firms, but the express funded account is still a place where people who have proven their strategy in the trading combine in quite short order, they may still have some things to work out. And, yeah, there's a lot of XFAs that close on a daily basis. I'm not going to be able to provide a more clear answer than that, but I think that's what we're going for. I'm not going to sit here and tell you nobody blows out of XFAs. It happens.
It happens, and it's never a failure. It's a not quite yet successful, and we look for everybody's success here, of course.
Yeah, and I will try and highlight some of those in the shoulder tap segments too. I'm not just talking about people that are doing well. I'm talking about, there's shoulder taps and, hey, so-and-so got off to this start and then, something happened. Or I'll talk about, I've mentioned recently, some traders that they did really well in their trading combine and then they come in day one, daily loss limit. Day two, they risk too much money. That's not Topstep, though. These traders are in control. And now there's nothing you can do if your strategy is not working in a certain market environment other than discontinue trading. But for a lot of traders out there, you do have, as long as you're not risking too much on a daily basis, you should be giving yourself the time to figure out, I need to pump the brakes. I need to scale down my size. I need to not risk so much. And you know what? If you fail an XFA or your XFA is closed for hitting the max loss limit, what could I do differently next time? And that should be something that everybody's thinking about. Don't be down on yourself. You don't need to spend a lot of time in the trading combine to pass it. So if you find yourself becoming a funded trader and it's not working out in that account, always be looking for areas to improve and learnings from what happened. And if you risk too much on day one and day two, well, you shouldn't be doing that the next time around. So you're going to be that much better off. But no doubt there's people that treat it as gambling and they might get an XFA closed and they might not learn from it and they might go replicate the same mistakes.
Right.
Traders shouldn't be here to gamble. Traders should be here to learn and not replicate the same mistakes. That's how, it can be fun trading. It can be exciting trading. But if you want to have a career in trading, you got to be managing your money, managing your emotions, psychology. And if you can't make tweaks from your previous learnings, you're going to have a very difficult time having success over time in this industry. It's
all about the growth. It's all about growth.
Yeah, cold hard truth. Performance-based business. You got to measure your performance.
All right, next question. Is it possible to make a living by trading? I mean, individual retail trader.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We've got a number of people here that did it, I guess on the professional side, but yes, it absolutely is. I'll tell you, as a retail trader, your best odds for success are to, and I'm going to continue hammering this every opportunity I get, money is made day trading, catching a piece of the trend for the day. I see a lot of people struggling when they're the scalpers that are in and out long and short throughout the day. For you retail traders out there, you might think you've got it. It might work for a while. You might have big winning days, and there's probably going to be people watching this saying, Mick doesn't know what he's talking about. I've seen a lot of traders, tens of thousands of traders, and the people that try and scalp long and short throughout the day are going to have a very difficult time being successful in this industry. But there are people that make livings doing this. There are people that make really good livings doing this. And then there's people that, my suggestion to anybody new in this industry, wanting to get into this industry, do make sure, and this was something that was very helpful for me, I had other sources of income when I was trading. Now, I started trading, got into it, did it full time, didn't have the other sources of income. It put an enormous amount of pressure on me to perform. It made me take trades that I shouldn't have been taking because I was chasing making money, and that only helped me lose more money. It was when I did have security outside of trading that I knew I could pay the bills, that I was able to be more patient and more selective with my trading. So I've heard from a number of traders, they get funding, oh, I'm going to quit my job. And I say, hold on, pump the brakes. Don't do that. Tiptoe in. If you are trading a live account, an express funded account where you're able to take payouts from, it's good to have the security because it takes so much pressure off your shoulders. People could very quickly find themselves in a bad position if they quit their day job per se. But, if you are able to make a certain amount of money compared to what you're making in a day job, and then you have a solid plan for scaling your trading, you can confidently make some estimates to, if I go from 1 lots and 2 lots to 3 lots and 4 lots, if I was only making half as much money day trading as I was in my full-time role, if I can scale that, then I'd be making the same amount of money. If I can scale that, then I'd be making more money, and so on and so forth. But do make sure that you're not putting your back against the wall, because poor trading comes from having your back against the wall.
Right. And a lot of folks are here chasing money, and one of the best traders I ever knew told me that's the wrong way to do it. You have to become a good trading decision maker, and the money is a byproduct of that. And it kind of goes to the next question I have for you, Mick.
I use that quote all the time. Money is a byproduct of good trades. Seek out the good trades. The money will come.
Steve Prasnewski is the guy that told me that. So
I tell a lot of people that, Steve. Thank you.
Yeah. And so you were talking about, people getting their funded account saying, I'm going to quit my job. I mean, I kept my job outside of trading for years. Even when I started making money, I kept it for years just so that I knew the bills were going to get paid. I didn't have that pressure. The next question, I think, is something that would kind of help somebody in that regard. This question is, I'm wondering how to become more disciplined to take A setups only, and how to develop the patience to wait for this setup. Thanks. And if you're chasing money, you're going to have a hard time having that patience. Mick, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I touched on this in my shoulder tap segment yesterday about, you should only be taking grade A setups. There's no such thing as a B setup, a C setup. That stuff's all shit. Find the grade A setup, excuse my language. If you find yourself over trading, or you're taking marginal trade opportunities, you can do a little homework, and if you can note down, this was a grade A setup, and then for every grade A setup, what was your performance and outcome? You have some statistics that you can compare to the grade B setups or the C setups and see what that performance is. Now, the discipline, I mentioned it also yesterday, people underestimate the amount of discipline you have to be successful in this business. There's a massive difference between doing what you should be doing and doing what you want to do. Markets are open 23 hours a day. I want to trade all day. Well, yeah, that's what you want to do. But if your goal here is to make money and via good trades, then you're going to be more selective with your trading. You're going to go long on pullbacks. You're going to go short on little rallies in line with the direction of the trend. And if you're over trading, come up with a number. If you're making 20 trades a day, try making 10 trades a day. If you're in a cold streak and you're finding yourself losing money multiple days during the week, implementing the same strategy across the markets, tell yourself 1 trade a day. It's going to be super hard to do if you're an over trader. Challenge yourself. Say, I get 1 trade a day. I was talking about it with Hogan Andre yesterday regarding what you should be aiming for as a winning trade percentage. Successful traders can be right 50% of the time, but nobody's goal is to be right half the time. Your goal needs to be, I want to have a 100% win rate. It will not happen. You will not have a 100% win rate over time. Maybe in a day, if you're taking one trade, yeah, I have one winning trade. I'm at 100% win rate.
Right.
That's your goal. If you're shooting for perfection, you're going to come that much closer to perfection than you are if you're, throwing spaghetti at the wall. Another thing I would say is if you're going to take a trade, you should be able to explain to someone, an accountability buddy, a coach, somebody, I like this long trade. This is why, and give a couple reasons for it. You can't just say, I like being long here. That's
Right.
BS. Like, why do you like being long there? Have not one reason, have multiple reasons. I like to say, if I'm looking at my charts or something, because I like technicals, I like seeing a few stars aligning to give me, green light go and taking that action. So, limit yourself to how many trades you're making. It's not easy to do. It's way easier said than done. But, you got to make a decision. Do I want to do this half-assed, or do I want to be successful in doing this? Ron Swanson said, for those of you Parks and Rec people out there, I got a mug that that's got this quote on it: never half-ass, more than one thing, always whole ass one thing. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. It's entertainment, it's gambling. So don't waste your time if you want to be good in this industry.
You already answered one of the questions, which was about how, controlling over trading. Maybe I can add a little something. I mean,
I know you can.
If you're over trading, where does that switch flip? Where does your switch flip? Where do you become emotional? For me, it's 3 losing trades. If I have 3 straight losing trades, then I'm probably going to stop, because that's when I start to overtrade and start to trade chasing money instead of strategy. You kind of keep an eye on that and account for when that happens for you, and you can help control your overtrading. Next question, Mick.
Really, really quickly, I'd say the trade reports are great assets for that. If I look at a trade report and I see John Hoagland has got a certain type of trading activity, he's doing X amount of contracts or X amount of trades in a day. On the days that I see a P&L low being relatively low, I always see more contracts for that day or more trades for that day. If you're down money, psychologically, it's only natural to want to trade more to make that money back.
Right.
And usually, for myself, for what I've seen from other traders, you just dig yourself in a deeper hole. It's commonly discussed, you remember the 1 or 2 times out of 10 that you are able to get back to break even or even profitable on the day, which makes it very easy to forget about the 8 other times or 9 other times that you just lost more money.
Right.
And for me, one of my problems was when I was down good money, I would say to myself early on, I want to make it back. If I slap on more leverage, then I can make it back quicker. And F it, what's another $2,000? Boom, do what I'm doing, lose that $2,000, and then I'm just pissed off the rest of the day and know that I made a mistake.
A boo-boo.
When you're down money, the value of the dollar diminished. At least it does for me. It's like, oh, what's another?
We're already down. What's a few thousand more, right?
Yeah, I'm already here pissed off. I'm already down money. What's another shot? What's
Misery
another shot?
Company.
You got to get away from that.
Right. All right. On a 50K combine, what would be your self-imposed daily loss limit? And also, would you recommend a daily profit goal and stop trading when you get there? If yes, what would your daily profit goal be in a 50K combine?
So this is a great question. It's a tough one, though, because it's not a one-size-fits-all answer. Whether you're in a 50K combine or 150K combine, your strategy is going to really play a big part in the answers to these questions. Am I doing short time frame stuff where I'm holding for, 5, 10, 15 minutes? I'm in and out quickly. If you're doing that, your risk should be really smaller on a per trade basis. If you're looking to take a bite out of the trend for the day, you're going to risk a little bit more. And it comes down to contract sizing too. I could be in a 50K live account with 40 grand in it. I got $1,000 daily loss limit. It all depends on what contract sizing you're trading and So that's a tough one. I can't slap a number to that, but when in doubt, it's always good to think about it this way. If you've got in the 50K a $2,000 max loss limit, that's your drawdown. 10% of that's 200. $400 is 20% of that. Now that's a big percentage of your account to risk. We know how easy it is to make or lose $1,000 trading a one lot in the NASDAQ or the S&P. So these are things you need to consider. And if I'm going to risk $500 a day on that 50K account with a 2,000 max loss limit, every day I lose 500, it's a quarter of my trading account. So if I go right off the bat, I'm okay risking 500, 4 swings at the plate right there. And I've had 4 losing days in a row. John, you've had 4 losing days in a row. Everybody's had 4 losing days in a row.
Never.
What? You're lying. You're lying. Do you want to position yourself to, lose your account after 4 days? I don't think so. So, it's really a personal preference, and it's highly contingent upon the strategy you're implementing.
Right. Great answer. I was really interested in hearing what you had to say about that. The one thing is, a daily loss limit should be static. It should be solid. As far as a daily profit goal, I find that there's a little bit of danger in that. If you're 2 ticks from your daily profit goal, that's close enough. And if you're going to stop at a daily profit goal, you may be limiting continuing profiting throughout the day. Once you get to that goal or close to it, how about saying, my next losing trade, I'm done.
Yeah.
If you have another winning trade, it buys you another trade. If you have another winning trade, it buys you another trade. Your first losing trade, once you get to a certain level, then you can call it. I mean, there's a million ways to, as they say, skin a cat. But the time-based and financially based goals that traders put on themselves, I find tend to have the opposite reaction. Yeah. If you don't get to it, you feel like you're failing, but still you had a good day. So you got to get those 2 ticks. And if that's a loss, now you're chasing that loss and you're chasing the next loss. I've had days when I was trying to make 40 ticks and I'd be up 38 ticks. Let me just make these last couple of ticks and we'll call it a day. Famous last words.
You never get them.
Never get them.
And you give them back.
And you end up giving it all back, and sometimes even and then some. So keep your profit and time-based goals very soft.
Yeah.
Sometimes the market isn't going to be big enough to get you there.
I don't, and I agree with everything John said. To elaborate a little bit or just add to it, I don't like profit goals for the day. I don't like them for a number of reasons. What I profit per trade is going to be contingent on the trade that I make. Not every trader, if you're looking at the market and you're looking for levels and areas of opportunity, it's not always going to be, I'm going to risk 500 to make 1,000 on every single trade. You could risk 500 to make 500. You could risk 500 to make 5,000. So your profit goals should be contingent on, if you're framing out a trade, this is where I'm out if I'm wrong, this is where I'm out if I'm right. My profit goal would probably be to wherever I think the market can go, where I'm going to be right. And that's not to say there's nothing wrong with, I've traded for 5 hours this morning and, I'm up $1,000 and you know what? I'm tired. I'm happy walking away up 1,000. That's fine. Or I'm up $1,000 and hey, I'm sitting here. I'm looking for more opportunities. I'm not seeing them. Then you don't put another trade on and you're up 1,000 on the day. That's what you walk away with. One slippery slope with profit targets for the day is I talk to a lot of excited traders who are newly funded, be it in the express funded account or the live account, and they have this big goal in their trading career, this big aspiration, and they say, okay, in order to get to this number on the year or something, I need to average X amount of P&L per day. I talk to a lot of traders that say I want to average $5,000 a day winning. It always scares the shit out of me, because if you're trading to make $5,000 a day, if you say I'm going to make $1,000 a day on average, if you're trading to make $1,000 a day, odds are you're going to lose that much money every day, because then you start coming into trading your P&L and not trading what you see in the markets. And we just talked about how P&L is a byproduct of good trades. So I always get spooked to no other when I hear people say I'm going to average this, and in the back of my mind, I'm not a mean guy, but I'm like, chances are this person, this guy or this gal, they're going to lose that much on their days. And I never see those trading accounts last all that long.
Okay, thanks, Mick. I love this next question, and I'm really fascinated to hear your thoughts on this. If the trading combine had a $300 to $500 daily loss limit, do you think we would have more traders in the XFA and live?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I absolutely do. If you're limiting your risk while still giving yourself opportunity to take down big numbers, 100%. 100%. We talk about a couple guys in shoulder tap every week, some of the big swinging traders, guys that are taking big 10-figure days down regularly. They've got their $3,000 daily loss limits. Losing $3,000's, quite a bit of money tangibly, but when you're putting up large size, it's okay to risk. It's all relative. I might have a $40,000 winning day or $60,000 day, but then I'm only losing $3,000. It's going to take a lot of losing days to wipe out those profits. And same thing for someone who, we always preach personal loss limit. We have our standard loss limit sizes, but we want to give traders room to, risk and develop and learn. But most traders should have their own personal loss limit. If I got $1,000 loss limit, but I know my pain tolerance and I get emotional when I'm down 400, that's your personal loss limit. And, do the math. If I can save myself $400 twice a week, that's $800 at the end of the week. And over the course of a month, that could be $3,200. And then you just do the math. It just adds up and compounds. Right. So
right. The less you lose, the more you make.
Yeah. I love seeing some of my traders in the live accounts that, they might make 4-figure winning days regularly on their winning days, but then they literally stop when they're down 400. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Having the ability to risk more, but having the discipline not. Discipline, baby. Yep.
All right. Great answer, Mick. Thank you.
That's a great question.
Here's a deep dive for you.
Okay.
I know a lot of people have had questions about this. And what is your criteria for a trader that is on the XFA to move into a live account? Is it risk to reward, length in the account, P&L, combination?
Anything and everything. We are turning over every rock and stone, looking at past history, looking at current history, looking at risk, position sizing, win rates. A lot of the statistics we talk about on the shoulder tap segment, and we have shared trader success metrics. I don't know how quickly or readily available they are, but I put together a table with a pretty good sample size of people that we've called up to live, and what their winning day percentages are, what their winning trade percentages are, how much time they spend in trades, how many trades a day that they make. The more selective you are, the better your win rates are going to be. And the better your win rates, the better your winning day percentages. I talk about it being difficult to scalp, getting long and short throughout the day. People that catch a piece of the trend for the day, I don't care if it's 20 ticks out of a 100-point move, that's catching a piece of the trend for the day. They usually have a little bit longer holding times. So those are a few things, I think about, but we look at everything. I mean, honestly, we look at resets too. Like, a reset is kind of, there's a lot of people that will swing for the fences, and if they have a big winning day, great. They're that much closer to their profit target. If they have a losing day, or they hit their max loss, or they put themselves in a bad position and they reset, they're bailing themselves out to start a new account. And we want to be calling up traders to the live account that are going to be able to stand on their own two legs and take money out of the markets. Someone who's doing a lot of resets, we have less. The odds are not as good that they will maintain and thrive in a live account. So that's something we look at. We look at everything. We want to pick the best of the best.
Awesome. Thank you. Great answer. Here's another one for you. How do you deal with the desire to be in a position, even if there's not a clear trade available?
I used to have that problem when I had pressure on my shoulders to, take trades, hoping I'd make money to pay the bills. I'm not there. I am way more content taking, a handful of trades a year, to be honest with you guys and gals. I don't have a problem with that. Many people do. Personality types weigh in greatly to that. I can be fiery, but I'm a pretty calm, collected guy, and I don't have FOMO. I've tried to force things in the markets enough where I know it doesn't work, and I've learned from those mistakes. So I don't have a problem not participating if I don't see anything. My job, everybody's number one job in this industry is preserve your capital first, then find good trade opportunities where you get the profits as a byproduct. And if I don't see a good trade opportunity, I'm not risking my money. I'm managing my risk. And if it's risky to put on something marginal just because I want to, this could be a scary business for someone with that mentality. You might find short-term success, but if you're seeking action and excitement and not capital preservation and profits from good trades, you got something you got to work on. And we all have stuff to work on. So that's not calling out anybody who sent that question. And you always have to be getting better. Elon Musk says if you're not progressing, you're regressing. My second quote of the day: brilliant billionaire versus a fictional character on a comedy show.
One of the things that that comes to me is, if you're here, you're a trader. And if you're going to be a trader, you damn well better be trading. And it's just not the case. Not having a position is as much as having a position. So you don't get yourself wrapped up in the idea that if I'm going to be a trader, I damn well better be trading it. You almost feel perhaps a little bit like you're wasting time, like you're sloughing off at your job if you're not actively trading. And it's not true. It's not true. Find yourself something to distract yourself. Find your, just be patient. Part of trading is the boring part of waiting for alignment with the market and your strategy. If it doesn't align, you can't play. You can't play. It's just not, maybe you'll get lucky and, maybe you won't.
It's not your job to be trading just because the markets are open 23 hours a day. It's your job to preserve your capital and try and take money out of the markets. John, I know you played the guitar, when it was downtime. Me, I watched a lot of Netflix and South Park to keep me busy while I was, watching charts, waiting for things to get to certain levels to take opportunities, because bad homework at the end of today's Tuesday. At the end of today's session, you should be doing your homework, prepping for tomorrow. So when tomorrow's session starts unfolding and the price action's happening, I'm not there thinking about, what do I do because the market's doing this. I'm there waiting for the market to do X or Y because I have a plan of what I want to execute if and when that happens. And if that doesn't happen, I'm not doing anything, because I'm not here to lose money by taking unnecessary risks, and that's unnecessary risk.
And if the market doesn't align with anything, you don't see anything, you do a Cartman, and you say, screw you guys, I'm going home.
I'm going home.
All right. Topstep X does have VWAP feature available, just to answer that question. Sorry.
This is a little less about, I know you had an answer for that. It was a question submitted. This is less about Topstep X and more about risk management.
Right. So based on your experience, do you believe that trading prior to traditional New York market open at 9:30 Eastern AM is advisable? Please explain
100%.
your reasoning.
100%.
Spelling counts, grammar counts. I'd also like to ask, based on your years of experience, what do you find the institutional traders to be doing, and go in depth in regards? This is a pretty deep. First off, let's do the first question.
Let's do part A. So
yes,
starting trading prior to the New York session, 9:30 a.m. when stocks open, 8:30 a.m. Central Time when it's Chicago time and stocks open. 100%. I think as a day trader, as a retail trader, your best time to be involved in the markets, and all these overnight traders are going to say Mick doesn't know what he's talking about, but from my experience, what I've seen, I see people get their pockets picked in the overnight session. You want to be participating. We're all small fish. Even if you're a big trader, you're still a small fish in the scheme of the things with marketplace. You want to be participating when the volume is there. Volume, if you look at your charts, you'll see that around the 7 a.m. Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, that's when volume comes in. And I think that 7 a.m. Central window to 11 a.m. Central window is the best time of day for the volume. Come 11 Central, it's 12 o'clock in New York. The big girls and boys are off to lunch. Then Chicago's going to be off to lunch. So the larger institutions that can be aggressive enough and trading big enough to move the markets around. Remember, we're just here as day traders, retail traders, riding the coattails of the big girls and boys that do push the markets around. We want to find good entries and let them move the markets, because, I could bang around on S&Ps doing 100 lots all day long. I'm not pushing the market anywhere. I might chew up a bidder offer here and there, but that's the best time window. It's when volume is there, and I don't like participating when volume is not there.
Yeah, don't do that with the 100 lot thing. I've tried it. It doesn't go well.
I've done it before too. We could talk about my biggest loss if we wanted to do that.
Well, I think you kind of answered the other part of that question is, where the institutionals going, or where, what are they doing during lunchtime? They're having a 2 martini lunch, right?
If they're having a good day, maybe.
Well, Mick, we're kind of running short on time here a little bit, and I could, as we know, you and we could sit and talk for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours about all of this.
Sure
because
thing.
We have done that with rum and without rum. So we're going to keep some more of these questions. This is a segment I think we should continue to do from time to time. I know, Mick, you'd certainly be down for it. I know 100%. Everybody that was here enjoyed your questions, and how honest, forthright, and right you are. And there's so many different ways to skin a cat at this. And you get the opportunity to be in that seat to see thousands and thousands of traders over the years, and their performance and what helps and what doesn't. And really, really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today.
Yeah, thank you, John. Definitely sitting down with the best and one of the best risk-minded people we have here, with more experience than most, and I know we see eye to eye on a lot of things. So for everybody that was watching, thanks for submitting the questions. Thanks for watching, and I think talking about risk management and hearing about what has worked for worked or hasn't worked for certain people, and being able to share that, it's really free advice, especially on the what doesn't work that great for people, because these are lessons that, you know, some people might not learn without figuring them out themselves, but if you kind of, you know, have any inclination to learn from just someone sharing on wisdom via word without having lived those experiences and those negative times, you're going to save yourself some money doing that.
Man, I wish I had somebody to help me with that wisdom. I did to a degree, my dad, but he always let me fall on my face, and then he would say, well, that's the way you learn, kid.
Same.
You know, so it's just wonderful that you're here, and you know, again, you know, we're looking forward to everybody's success here. I think a lot more people could be more successful if they would just let them be accountable, so that when you review your trading day, you traded in strategy, so you can get a real view of how your strategy performed that day. If you're all over the place and trading outside your strategy, you don't get anything consistent to review. And you know, Mick, I'm looking forward to seeing you back here again. I hope I get to do the interview again, because I miss you, man. I don't get to see you. We used to hang out all the time.
I know, we used to sit right next to each other in the old office. You know, I miss you too, man. Love you, John. And this was fun. I'd love to sit down with you again. If you haven't picked up on it, it's a topic I'm super passionate about. I'm super passionate about helping people, and I'm an open book too. You know, I can share my screw ups, and I was very good at screwing things up and making mistakes, very good at learning from them after a certain point, because, you know, you get upset, you get pissed off. Hey, I can't do that again. Well, you know, and you need to make a decision. Am I doing this as a business? Is this a business decision, or is this just entertainment for me with your trading? And that's something that a lot of people on the retail side of things need to answer for themselves.